The upcoming release of the Comme de Garcons Nike Dunk Low gives me the opportunity to test you and you the opportunity to beat me. Because what I'm going to do in today's video, as you've seen from the title, is we're going to talk about some of the secrets of the brand before we actually get into looking at the shoe. So it's a two-part video, some secrets or lesser known facts about the brand that maybe you already know out there or maybe you don't, and then a close-up look at that shoe. Now when we're looking at the secrets that I'm talking about, what I want to do is I want to challenge you guys out there. And I'm going to try and remember to number all the different things I tell you about the brand. I'll probably forget to, but anyway, what I want to try and do is to see how many of the things I tell you you already knew and how many you didn't, and then let me know in the comments down below that you didn't know some things, you did know others, and you know, I'm guessing that some of you will be like, oh, I didn't know that, thanks for letting me know, but others will be like, you know what, I knew all of that. So it's a challenge between you and me today about who knows more about this brand as we take a close-up look at the Nike Dunk Comme de Garcons. This is the Tokyo About 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo About 23 Sneaker Channelです。毎日アップするので、毎日見てください. Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And yes, we are still in a semi-lockdown here, lockdown light, diet lockdown, whatever you want to call it. And it means I'm shooting at home, not my favorite thing to do. And shooting in the middle of the night, not my favorite thing to do. Shooting one video at a time, not my favorite thing to do. But what is my favorite thing to do is to talk about sneakers and look at sneakers that are upcoming and releasing real soon. And today the sneaker that's in the spotlight, that's under the microscope, is the Comme de Garcons Nike SB. No, it's not that. Nike Dunk Low. And that's one of the things about this that I wanted to mention is, I don't know if it's not necessarily a secret, but it's maybe something that people don't know out there. So there's your starter for one, is that it's not an SB Dunk Low. It's just a Dunk Low. So that's number one. The things you may not know about this sneaker is that it is not a skateboard, not an SB Dunk Low. Maybe you already got that. So that's your first starter for one. But like I said, you know, we're looking at that sneaker today. We'll look at it in two ways. One is looking at the brand and talking about some things that maybe you guys don't know about the brand. And the other thing is taking a close-up look at the shoes that are coming out and looking in detail at the different features on them. So without further ado, let's look at those secrets or lesser-known facts about the brand. Fact number two now. It would have been my fact number one, but fact number two, and I didn't know this before I looked into this shoe, so I'm you know, full disclosure and all that. Maybe you guys know it and maybe you don't, but anyway, maybe you got number one already, which is you knew that these were not SB Dunk Lows and they were just Dunk Lows. But fact number two is this is a Japanese brand. I had no idea that this was a Japanese brand. I just assumed because it's a French title or name, I just assumed it was a French brand. But then when we looked at this, I actually, full disclosure again, I can't believe I'm telling you guys this, I went online and I typed in Comme de Garcons pronunciation because I wanted to know exactly how to pronounce it properly. Being British, right beside France, you know, I do have a little knowledge of French, but not that much. But I just assumed it was a French brand, and when I put into Google Comme de Garcons pronunciation, it came out with some information, and the first thing it came out with was it's a Japanese brand. Here I am in Japan, I had absolutely no idea. So that was, that's point number two. Maybe you guys already knew that. Maybe you knew this was a Japanese brand from the 60s that started to get big in the 80s. They were one of the first brands to do that whole sort of ripped up design, so deliberately making the clothes and the fashion look trashy. That they were way ahead of the curve on that one. So yeah, that's the Japanese brand, and the inspiration for the name came from a French record that the founder of the brand heard and liked, and that record was actually slightly longer title than the title of the brand. But we'll get into that in a minute because that's another one of those details. But I want to go somewhere else for detail number three, and that's to talk about the fact it's a Japanese brand. But here in Japan, the stores that house or that sell the Comme de Garcons brand, they actually only stock week by week a limited number of clothes and shoes and apparel and things like that. And if they sell out, they sell out, and that's it. And they don't want to saturate the market, like Supreme or Off-White or any of those brands that they could just get the sales when they can, and when it's peak time, flood the market, and when people are not so interested, don't produce so much. What they've decided to do, the Comme de Garcons brand, is that they will sell a certain amount of items per week, and if they sell out, they sell out. And I think that's respectable. I think that's a great thing to do. I think it's a way of saying, we're in it for the brand or the fashion, shall we say, as opposed to just milking as much money of this as we possibly can. So fact number three, in Japan at least, the stores are not filled with items that you can buy as and when you want. There's a limited number each week, and you got to get in fast if you want to get your item. And let's go to sort of semi-fact number 4, which is I didn't know that this right here, which is the logo for the brand, is Comme des Garcons. I've seen this all over the place in Japan. Very, very popular. Little heart, 2 eyes on there, and I was like, oh, that's a cute little brand. But I knew Comme des Garcons from other things. You know, I'd seen the brand around in different places and other situations, but I'd never put the two together. I didn't realize that one was the other. So that's maybe fact number, and there you go. I've already lost count. I think it was number 4. So number 5, we were talking about Japan, about it being a Japanese brand. Let's talk about the brand name, Comme des Garcons, which means like the boys. And what the fact is that you have to understand is that the like in that sentence is, I think, an adjective and not a verb. So it's not like I like you, you like me. It's not like the boys in that terms. It's like, you know, the iPhone 11 is like the Galaxy 5 or something like that, you know, so it means similar to, as opposed to I like you, I like me. So the like the boys is what Comme des Garcons translates into, and the song that I was talking about before was actually called Like the Boys and Girls, but for some reason the founder of the brand cut off that and girls part and went straight with Comme des Garcons, and that's what the brand means, and that's where it came from. So so another fact there. I think we're up to fact number 5 so far, and I think there's more that I wanted to mention. Let's go into the shoe itself, and these are still facts about the sales coming up, and we're not actually looking at the details on the shoe yet. We're still talking about these facts. So fact number 6, May the 14th is a drop date, which you may already know, but do you know that there's only one particular place you can buy these guys, and they'll go on general release much later. So right now we have to hold off, and we're not going to get our hands on these guys because the Dover Street Market has got them first, and then after that there'll be a wider release. So sorry if you're looking for a May the 14th release and you saw these and you're like, oh, getting all excited. Not going to happen for a few more weeks yet. And that leads me on to the next sort of point about that May the 14th release, is that the run, so we're on to what, number 7 or something? The size run for these guys is a full size run from women's through men's, which personally is something I don't really like. I mean, if you're a man with small feet and you have to buy women's shoes, it's like, why do you have to buy women's shoes? Why can't you just buy men's shoes in that size? Or if you're a woman with larger feet, you know, and the women's size run only goes up to a certain size and you have to buy men's shoes, why don't just say, here's the size run from X to Y, boo, that's it. You don't have to put in the men's and the women's part of it. So that always is a little bit of a frustration for me too. But that's is it a secret or is it a fact about these guys that it's going to be basically a full-size adult run? I don't think we're going to get into kid-size runs or anything like that. And then the last fact I want to bring you guys before we actually look at these shoes, and we'll see, you know, you can count them up and tell me. I think we're on to number 8 or something like that. I knew I'd lose track of these things, but it's that there's 2 of them, and again, some of you out there might not realize there's actually 2 different shoes, and we'll look at them today. In fact, behind me for a lot of this video would have been the 2 shoes. I don't know if you noticed that one has got that sort of Comme des Garcons CDG branding sort of really splattered throughout it, and the other one's a lot more subtle. So so there's my facts or secrets or bits of information about the brand, and then about these shoes. Don't know how many of them you guys already knew and how many were new to you. Please let me know in the comments down below where you got on that and whether or not you already knew all of them, or like me, you had to go out and research some of the things about this because you didn't know any of them. But you know, it's good to learn. It's one of the main reasons I have this channel, and it's all there in the about section on YouTube. It's one of the reasons I have this channel is to learn things. So so that's part 1 out of the way. Let's get into actually looking at the shoe. Now for me, the first thing I want to say is it's kind of long and low. I don't know if you can see this in the green screen behind me right here, but especially on the toe box, there's a real sort of elongated effect on there, and I was really surprised by it. I think it's to do with the materials that they used not being so many leathers, and there's a lot of sort of plasticky feel about those materials, or meshy feel or something, and I think it just sort of doesn't sort of have that vibrance of leather, and it sort of sits a bit lower, so you can see, to be honest, it looks a little bit like a clown shoe, and hopefully that's showing up a bit here on the green screen. And then the other thing about these shoes, there's a lot of other things about the shoes. One is, I'm not sure if somebody's been playing with Photoshop. I'm going with no, this is authentic. But we'll only find out as the shoe gets a wider release and we get more information about it. But if you look at the heel right now here on the grey version, what I call the grey, the one that's got the big branding on it, the D, G branding all the way throughout it. Not that one, the other one that doesn't have the branding smashed across it. If you look at the heel here, I don't know if you've noticed this, but one of the heels, actually the Nike is written backwards. So it's a sort of reflection of the other one. Now it could be that somebody's just done a clever bit of photoshopping and taken one heel and flipped that picture. So that, and when they flipped it, the lettering got flipped over. But I was kind of looking at the lower parts of the heel section, and they look like they're in different colours. It doesn't look like an identical flip of the right and the left shoes, which makes me think that maybe on the greys only, you're going to have flip branding on the black back of, I thought it was the right shoe, but I can't remember which. And maybe I could throw up the heel of the other one with the CDG branding throughout it, and you can see that the Nike on both of them is written in the same direction. So we'll see what, when we get these things in hand and a closer look at them. But that's a kind of neat detail on there. And then I think the other thing I want to do is go into the insole and have a look at the only place I can find branding on here, which is in the insole. I haven't found any branding on the outside. I'm thinking of the New Balance Levi's. If you remember the New Balance Levi's that dropped about a month ago, they had a tiny little tag on the side that said Levi's and nothing really else to tell you about any branding on there. Just looked like a regular New Balance shoe. And then these guys, there's really nothing in there to tell you, especially on the greys, that it's a brand or a collaboration. Of course, with the one with the massive branding splashed throughout, the CDG splashed throughout. I have to really remember that when I say it. It's branding, if you like, but there's no tags on there. The tongues don't have any special sort of branding like we saw with the heels back there. There's nothing special in there. Let's throw up an outsole for a second here, and you can look at that. It's your bog standard outsole, nothing special in there either. But going back to that insole, you can see on the inside the special branding for it in there too. But that's really majorly all the details I want to look at on this shoe. There was talk. I didn't put this in my facts because it's not a fact or a secret, but there was talk of a sort of echo of these, the Jordan 5 off-whites, and I can see similarities there in the materials and in the colours, but I'm sure that that's just a coincidence. I doubt if there's been some kind of like off-white Comme des Garcons sort of mashup or overlap there. It's just a coincidence that they look very, very, very similar. But other than that, that's pretty much all I want to say about this shoe. I can't really think of anything else that I put in my notes when I researched this guy. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully part one of it, where you were challenged about the facts to see if you knew what I knew, and then part two where you got a closer look at the shoe. Fingers crossed that was something you appreciated, and if you did appreciate it, then I'm very, very happy, because I do this every single day. So when people enjoy the content I create, it makes me very, very happy. And speaking of that, it's time for me to sign off. It's late at night here, like I said. I've got to get this video ready for tomorrow, doing these videos. Usually I do videos in the batches and then drop them one at a time, but because of this lockdown, I'm doing them one day in advance, which isn't my favorite way to operate, but that's the way we go. So right now, is it Tuesday today? I think it's Tuesday today. And then this video is for Wednesday. So fingers crossed, in about 19 hours time, you guys will be out there watching this and enjoying this content. But you know what? Because I do this every single day, even then, it means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.